everybody, it's me, LisaT, coming at you with some positive energy reading, The Language of Letting Go by Beattie. Alright. Man, the mind is a fucking trip. Emotions are a trip. Like, the reason I'm saying that is like it's just amazing how one moment, can flip me around and then flip me back again. It's so important to have good support systems and be working this program because our mind can play such crazy tricks on us, and fears can play such crazy tricks on us. And and even when I'm mantraing and putting those positive thoughts in my head, when there's something stuck, when there's an emotion that's vibrating inside of you, it's really hard to, it's a challenge. That's why we got to stay on top of this stuff daily, because it's a real challenge to let that just flow through instead of getting stuck and then mentally thinking about what is this thing I'm feeling, and then we try to figure it out instead of just feeling it and letting it flow. I'm just learning so much every single day. I'm always learning, and I just love it. And yeah, today's a great day to let it all go and love yourself. So let's see what it has to say. So we are, now that I've said that, let's see what the reading has to parallel with me. Again, remember, I never read these. Oh, and I wanted to say too, I'm noticing, with people watching and stuff, make sure if you're watching this, hit the subscribe button, give me a like so that I know I'm not alone. Just let me know this is helping you, and yeah, keep on watching. Loving you, and thank you. Okay, so July 21st, being is enough. This is what I was talking about yesterday, just getting into that being, right? Just being in this moment, being in your body, just breathing, that, just that is enough. Yeah, that's a tough thing, because again, we go out in the world and we get triggers. That's the main thing that causes these uncomfortable emotions. We get triggered, and the trigger is like a gun, right? It goes off, and once you're triggered, if you know anything about trauma, what happens is, once you're triggered, it's hard to think straight, because what happens is there's a amygdala in your brain, and if you have a lot of trauma, that amygdala grows. It's the emotional center of your brain. So when we're triggered, when that gun goes off, our brain goes back to the very first time we ever sensed that, felt that, was aware of it, that moment that was uncomfortable, and our brain kicked into survival mode. So the amygdala gets heightened, and what happens when the amygdala starts firing, the frontal lobe, which is your cognitive, rational thinking, shuts right off. And that's why being is so important, because when you're triggered, if you can learn to know, you gotta, first, awareness is number one. You gotta know you're triggered, and then you gotta get into being. And one of a simple step I can share with you around trauma therapy is that you need to then find 4 colors of green, find four sounds in your environment, find 4 smells in your environment. So it's all about getting you right here in this moment. Smells, colors, sounds, and there's one other one I can't think of right now, and I don't want to spend too much time on that. So yeah, but it's all about being. It's all about getting back into the moment. So being is enough. We are not always clear about what we are experiencing or why. Like I said, right? You feel that feeling, you're like, what is that? So we try to think about what that is instead of just sit with it. Call out 4 colors of green, call out 4 sounds you hear, call out 4 shapes, and 4, there's what's the other one? Anyways, but then you get back into being. So we are not always clear about what we are experiencing, and when you get back into being, you can just let that emotion ride its course. That's the emotions need to just ride their course. It's when we resist, like yesterday's reading, when we resist it, that it persists and it doesn't get the chance to flow. Okay. We are not always clear about what we are experiencing or why. In the midst of grief is a huge, any sense of loss, and it can be just the loss of anything that feels like a loss can trigger my grief from my early childhood trauma. And woo, that's a tricky one. So in the midst of grief, transition, when things are changing, transformation, and learning. When I'm learning something new, sometimes it feels too much for me. Healing or discipline, it's difficult to have perspective. When these things are going on, it's difficult to have perspective. That frontal lobe thing, because feelings are triggered, right? An intense feeling. So in the midst of grief, transition, transformation, learning, healing, or discipline, it's difficult to have perspective. That's why we need a support system as well to help us process through it. That's because we have not learned the lesson yet. So if things are reoccurring, you haven't learned the lesson yet. So again, this is all happening for your higher good. Whatever is coming at you is happening for your higher good so you can live, learn, and become better. We are in the midst of it. The gift of clarity has not yet arrived. So when it's difficult to have perspective in the midst of grief, transition, transformation, because you're in the midst of it. And you haven't learned the lesson yet. So the gift of clarity is not yet arrived. Not yet arrived. It's coming. Our need to control can manifest itself as a need to know exactly what's going on. That was my. That's one of the things I suffer with. Like I feel like this need. I need to know all the details. I need to know everything that's going on. So it will give me a semblance of control. So our need to control, we all have it in some way, shape, or form, can manifest itself as a need to know exactly what's going on. But we can't always know. We don't know. I don't know what's going to happen 5 minutes from now. I think I know, but we don't always know. Sometimes we need to let ourselves be and trust that clarity will come later in retrospect. That's what I've always said this too. Like, life is experienced in the moment, but it's understood in hindsight. It's always in hindsight. We're like, oh, that's why that happened. Or, oh, now I see how I could have dealt with that better. Well, of course you can, because you're not in it anymore and you're looking back. Hindsight is clear, much clearer vision, but we live in the moment and we understand it in hindsight. That's a tricky thing to like accept and move through. But it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. That's one of the main things too. My friend was talking to me. She reminded me that in all of my moments of where I like lose my shit, one thing that's so simple is someone just needs to tell me it's okay. And so I need to learn to tell myself it's okay. But sometimes we need to hear it from an outside source too, but just that it's okay. It's going to be okay. It is okay, and it's going to be okay. Always. So, we cannot always know. Sometimes we need to let ourselves trust that clarity will come later in retrospect, in hindsight. If we are confused, that is what we are supposed to be. Accept that. I remember saying to a friend, but God, I feel so uncomfortable. She's like, well, that was an uncomfortable moment. I didn't want to feel uncomfortable in an uncomfortable moment. I don't want to feel confused in a confusing moment. And that's the trick. That's the tricky part again. So because I'm resisting it. I don't want to feel confused, but it's a confusing moment. It's okay to feel confused when it's a confusing moment. It's okay to feel nervous in a nervous moment. It's okay to feel overwhelmed in an overwhelming situation. It's okay. If we are confused, that is what we are supposed to be. The confusion is temporary. This too shall pass. We shall see. The lesson, the purpose shall reveal itself. More will be revealed. More will be revealed. A good friend of mine, like 6 years ago, she used to always say, she's like, don't worry, Lisa, more will be revealed. More will be revealed in time, in its own time, not your time controlling it. It will always make perfect sense later. So just be patient. Beautiful, quick reading. That's it for today. So here's your prayer. Today, I will stop straining to know what I don't know. Stop straining to know what I don't know. To see what I can't see, to understand what I don't yet understand. I'm sorry. It's so beautiful. Like, it just gives me such peace. Like, today I will stop straining to know what I don't know, to see what I can't see, to understand what I don't understand yet. Like, so simple. Like, just stop straining, Lisa, to understand what you don't understand. Beautiful. Sorry. Okay, one more time. Today, I will stop straining to know what I don't know, to see what I can't see, and to understand what I don't yet understand. I will trust that being is sufficient and let go of my need to figure things out. A freaking man. I love you all. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. You're okay just as you are in this very moment. It's all good.